Okay, this is my usual disclaimer, just to say that the recording is primarily for use by you, and I will be putting a link to the recording on Google Classroom probably this afternoon, because I will need to go in and I'll put various other bits and pieces onto the video, and then it will be uploaded for where you can actually view it. Feel free to share it with your parents, they might be interested as well. So, we are looking at you for entry to university in 2025. May seem frightening, but it's going to happen very, very quickly. We're going to come round. What we're going to look at today is I'm going to talk about UCAS grades and predicted grades, to explain that to you. And I'm also going to talk to you about open days, and I'll explain why in a minute. So, that is my standard statement that continues. I still find students. I had a student come to me at 8 o'clock this morning wanting some information, and it was clearly obvious they had not done any preparation prior to coming to see me this morning. They said, will it be all right if I put my application in next week, seeing as the deadline was the 4th of January for us to get it through in time. We said we'll see what we can do. But it is very, very important that preparation is everything. I know some of you who are looking at early entry stuff. So there are people who've already been to some courses at Wellington College. There are people who are already doing extended work experience, getting all sorts of bits and pieces. I've done references for those who want to go to the RBH for some work experience for medics courses. All that sort of stuff. There are people doing things already. Okay. This slide is very, very important that you understand this. And if you take nothing else away, this slide and one other are the key. Your predicted UCAS grades. Okay, they are based on your performance this year and your PPEs, which you will be doing at the end of the year. Okay? Let me just give you an idea of the process for those UCAS grades. Okay, you have a benchmark currently which is based on the Fisher Family Trust and looks at your GCSEs and all sorts of bits and pieces like that, and some background information. During the year, you will be doing assessments and homework. Those are counting, those are producing evidence for your teachers towards what will eventually be your UCAS predicted grades. In May, you will be doing some prelims. Those will be added into the mix. In July, those of you who are looking to do early entry, that is the medics, the vets, the dentists, and Oxford and Cambridge, will be having discussions with me about what your predicted grades are going to look like, and I will show you how I come up with some evidence towards your predicted grades. Currently, based on this year, okay, your teachers will be setting your UCAS grades on about the 20th of September. Okay, this year it was last year it was the 22nd. That's about the sort of, and those grades then will be sent home to your parents and emailed to you, and I've put ish in there on the 27th of September, which is the last Friday of September. If, however, you are an early entry student, your grades will have been set at the beginning of September. This is the deadline for everybody else. Okay? So, let's have a look at some reports and how they might come together for a UCAS predicted grade. Because if you understand the process, then you will have a better idea about what you need to do. So, this is a student report. This is a real student's report, okay, in the summer. This is a student who was studying biology, chemistry, and 2 lots of maths. Okay, I use these with their permission. Okay, and you will look, there are some prelim results. Okay, they've got 3 A's and they've got a C in chemistry. And then we look at, during the year, members of staff, based on your performance, have come up with a series of what they think are going to be predicted grades at the end of the 2 years. We have here the benchmark grades, which have been set by FFT, And all of that information is sitting there available to the members of staff. Okay? What I would be looking at this point in time when I'm having a discussion is, okay, so here we look, biology, we've got nice firm biology A. The chemistry has been just A-ish, but based on that prelim results, we've come up with a B1, which as far as I'm concerned is the top end of a B, so it could go up. Okay, and we've got some further maths, and you can see that in maths this particular student pretty well secure in what they were looking for. So let's go into September. Okay, so in September, you can see the colouring is telling me that this student is on the glide path or whatever, heading for these grades here, their benchmark grades. Okay, so we look here, biology, they're above the flight path, therefore we've moved up to an A2 here. Chemistry, starting to struggle a little bit with the chemistry, it's dropped to a C1, and maths being maths, as anybody who knows the maths, they take a while to get you up to speed. But we're still looking at some good maths grades. So therefore, what we come up with is, here are the ALPS grades, okay, and here are the UCAS grades that will be used for university applications. You say to me, the chemistry, you say, hang on, but the chemistry was looking at a B, but they're on the glide path, they're on the progress. So what we do is we look at that and go, okay, the chemistry should be an A. What I will look at is that we look at, for this particular, let me just dump on 2 slides. This is that particular student's GCSEs. I have access to the GCSEs. I will look at them and go, oh look, that student is majority 8s and 9s, so therefore that chemistry, I'm happy to support that chemistry grade. So what we find is this student was looking to apply to university. Okay, the usual offer, or expected offer for this is actually medicine, is 3 A's. You can see the student's prediction are 2 A's and 2 A stars. But we look at the grade profile, and this is the grade profile for this course, and you will see that the majority of students, when you look up here, 28% are looking at A star 2 A's. Okay, so this student with their prediction, they're nice and safe to go on to that course. Where was that one? That was University College London, and here is Cardiff. And you can see that 30% of the students who get on this course at Cardiff are on 3 A's. Therefore, looking at the usual offer and their prediction, we're quite happy and we're safe in that one. Okay, so let's have a look at student B. Okay, here is student B doing biology, computer science and maths, again used with their permission, but it could be any 3 A levels. You can see they're on the glide path. However, when we get to the summer, okay, we've got here in biology, yes, they have been showing over the year, they've been showing consistent improvements. They're on their glide path based on their benchmark and various other data, and you can see their greens as far as that is concerned. So let's jump on a term. Okay, suddenly we find, if I just go back, you will see that the computer science was a D3. But of course, when we go on to the autumn term of year 13, that D2 is definitely not on the glide path. There is something worrying there. Okay? That is the point at which discussions would be had with the student as to what their UCAS grade is going to look like. Okay? You can see that the prediction now is down on a C3, so it's the bottom of a C. Okay, their benchmark should have been a B, but you can see there is now quite a large divergency there. So, a discussion will be had. I'm just going to nip on for a minute. You can see we would look at this particular student, and we find that the student, yes, they are mostly 7s and 8s, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so you're a strong student. So let's go back and have a look at the predictions. Okay, so, excuse me, the predictions are B, C, B, based on the performance of the student, based on where they're at, based on the work. This is what was actually predicted by the student, by the teachers, in their professional judgment, having been doing the job for quite a number of years. Okay, For those of you who know, I've actually been working with sixth formers on UCAS for over 30 years. Okay, so I understand what's going on. So let's have a look at this student and their application. Okay, they came to me and had a chat about they wanted to do a course at Nottingham. Okay, the usual offer is 3 A's. Their predictions is BBC. We have a look at the grade, at the actual grade profile, and you will see here that no students ever get a place based on BBC prediction. So therefore that is not a university to apply to. You will see here that the most often, nearly 40%, come in with 2 A's and a B. So we would advise that student that that maybe isn't a place to apply to. However, same course down at Cardiff, usual offer, BBC, their prediction is BBC, and you will notice that actually the majority of the students, nearly 30% of the students, actually go to Cardiff to do that course with a offer of BBC. So therefore they're in, it's nice and firm, nice and secure, providing they hit their BBC. Okay, they will be, Cardiff is a place that they can go to study, and as I said, those are the GCSEs. So that's how the process works. Okay, your work over the year, homework, prelims, GCSEs, okay? Some people who join us, the GCSEs weren't wonderful, and yes, you're showing wonderful performance, you're above the grade, and therefore we will make higher predictions. Can I say, your UCAS grades are always aspirational, okay? We want you to do the best. Can I say, however, there are a number of schools around here who make UCAS predictions, and over their record over the last few years has been only getting 18% of their offers right. Maiden Early are currently hitting between 50 and 60% of getting our offers right within half a grade. So we're getting it right, okay, for about 60% of the students in the offers or the predictions we make. Okay, so do your research. What do the universities want? How is that all going to fit together? Now, let me put it this way. There is no negotiation with members of staff about the predicted grades. And in case anybody can't read black, I've done it in red. And in case anybody can't read red, I've done it in blue. Yes, we're smiling. Can I say, this week, I had a member of Year 13 turn up to my office asking that we change 2 of their predicted grades, claiming that staff had said that it was going to be higher than they thought it was, then claiming they didn't know what their predicted grades were. The email went home to them and to their parents on the 29th of September. We do not have conversations at this sort of time of year about predicted grades, because also it's not fair on all the other students who have taken the predicted grades and run with them. Okay? We are very experienced in getting it right. The last thing that want to happen is that we could very easily give everybody 3 A's in their predicted grades. We would then find probably that 80% of you would not actually get into university places. You'd all end up in clearing on that mad, frantic day in August. Okay? That's why we make the predictions that we do. And as you say, there is and there will be no negotiation about predicted grades. We have the emails come in. Mr. Gibson always gets them every year. My son or my daughter needs these particular grades to get into this particular university. Okay? That doesn't happen because in the majority of cases you do not get in. Okay? You have to be realistic. Some people turn around and say, oh yes, my son or my daughter wants to get into a Russell Group university. You know, we always say to you, you know, when we'll look at this process later on, by all means apply to aspirational places, but it should be no more than 1 or 2 grades above your prediction. So if your prediction is BBC, by all means apply to a couple of courses that maybe are 3 Bs, or maybe 3 Bs, or an A and 2 Bs possibly, but certainly no more than that. So let's sort of carry on. What we want is happy smiley faces, okay, when it comes to August 2025, not people crying and asking for the box of tissues because they didn't make it because they actually applied wrongly. So that your predicted grades are based on your performance this year and your PPEs. And hopefully everybody has got that particular message through. Okay? No good saying in October, I did not know, I'll do really well in my December PPEs. No, we don't take them. Okay? Now, your performance between now and the summer is when we get the evidence as professional staff for your UCAS predicted grades. Okay? If there are any circumstances which are affecting you, we need to know about that as we go through the year so that we can make appropriate adjustments. Okay? Can I say, in life, stuff happens. Okay? I had a student come to me a couple of weeks ago and said, oh yes, this happened during year 12, and we went, nobody knew about it. Okay? If there is stuff happening in your life, talk to us so that we know, so that if necessary, we can take that into account. Right, so let me talk to you about open days. You may say, well, hang on, this is January. Can I say university open days are going to start this year at Easter? May seem very early, but the whole process is being brought forward so that there isn't the congestion of open days in those sunny days in July when it all looks wonderful. Can I say to you, can I give you some advice? And that is, by all means, both in February half term and maybe at Easter, if you're thinking about going to a university, maybe actually get on a train or go and visit the town and the university before the open days. As I can tell you, when you actually go to an open day, it's a full-on day. Okay? Certainly when I was doing open days with one of my sons a few years ago, we made sure that we actually went the day before so that actually we had a sort of afternoon and evening to look round. Okay? You are very fortunate. You've got a university on virtually around the corner. You can actually have a wander around at any time you like. And in fact, Reading University quite encourage that. Okay? You can go and have a wander around the buildings, but I will give you some other bits and pieces that's worth looking into before you think about your open days. We will allow you to go technically on 2 open days during year 12 in school time and 2 open days in year 13. If you are a medic student or doing Oxford and Cambridge, you can sort of skew your open days. So in other words, you can have them all this year rather than, because obviously by the time you get to September, if you're an early entry, you've really got to have made your mind up by then. All of the graduate open days are advertised. There will be stuff on Google Classroom regularly giving you the timetable for open days. Right, let me give you a couple of hints on this. Okay? Number 1, as soon as open days are available, book your place. Okay? Can I say I know that Exeter, Sheffield and Roehampton are already taking pre-bookings for their open days. Okay? And book the subject talk. Okay, I went round Reading University's open day last summer and the queue for some of the subject talks was 2.5 hours if you didn't have a ticket. So you weren't going to get into the next one or the next one, but possibly you were going to have to wait for 3 talks before you could get in if you didn't have a ticket. Well, 2.5 hours, if you have travelled, let's say, to Cardiff, that's a lot of time. It's like wasted that you could be spent looking around the university. If you plan to go when we get to that point in May and June, let me know. If you are going during term time, I can authorise that with attendance Okay, so you email me saying, I wish to go to this open day. I've got a log which it goes in, and attendants are actually quite happier with that if it comes from me. What I would advise you to do is to get on a train and go with a friend or whatever. Use some public transport, okay, for at least some of the visits, so you know how you're going to get there. You can put down up to 5 choices on your UCAS form, so there's no point in going to vast numbers, but also you do need to have made sure you have covered a whole range of universities, because of you look at the options for the grades. Okay, what else do we need to consider? Okay, there are virtual open days existing on university websites. You can have a look round now. You know, they're stuck on YouTube. They'll give you a guided tour. Can I say one thing? They will show you the best halls. They will show you the best facilities. They are all recorded on a beautifully sunny day. Most of you will know that most of the autumn term is not, most of the spring term is not, and most of the summer term you're preparing for exams.
Can I just say on that, the amount of people I know who ended up in Swansea because they went on a lovely sunny day and the university overlooks the sea with the beach. Swansea can be very sunny, but as you said, in September, October, March and April, possibly May, it's not the sunniest.
No.
In July, you've normally come home by then.
Yes.
So do not pick it purely on, or there's a beach opposite and the sunshine.
Yeah. Oh, Aberystwyth is the other one. Can I say you need full waterproofs if you go to Aberystwyth? And somebody I know went there one year, said, you didn't tell me, sir, that it rained every day. Okay? We joke about it, but we want to help you and guide you. It's a big decision. You are going to spend 3 or 4 or 5 years of your life there. Okay. Just to remind you that there are, obviously we've got the Russell Group universities, that was in my previous presentation. Do you want a campus-based or a city-based university? And think about the distance from home. There is one other thing I want to talk about, and that is just think about what the accommodation is of the university. For Reading University, for example, now I think all the halls of residence are actually on the main campus. That is not the case, okay? What is the accommodation like? What's the transport like? Think about, you can look at this year's prices. Just have a look at what's included in that fees and do it while you're sitting down because it's a lot of money. Don't believe the virtual tours, which are always the best bedrooms. Okay, always the ensuite, always the one that is huge. Okay. Don't believe it. I remember when my son was at university, he determined he was going to go in one of the new halls of residence blocks in the middle and the centre of Southampton. It had 1 lift. The accommodation started on the 4th floor and went up to the 12th floor. Yes, they had a lovely view, but if you imagine 1 lift. On the day he arrived at university, they had a 10-minute window to get all his stuff into the lift and up to the right floor. 10 minutes. So think about that sort of thing. All I do know is that he became very, very fit going up and down the stairs. He was on the 7th floor, and that they had 3 weeks when the lift was out of action. Okay, so he was glad he didn't opt for the 12th floor. So do your research, look at, and what I would say to you is, right, let me just go on to this map. Okay, this is a map of London, and this is for, if I just go back, this is for Imperial College. Okay, and those are the halls of residence. There is the walking distance. You'll notice that in North Acton they reckon it's 100 minutes walking time. Okay, it's 60 minutes on the bus, 35 minutes by bike, and it's 40 minutes on the tube, when the tube is running and there are 2 changes from North Acton to South Kensington. So if you look at the map, okay, so the Acton halls of residence are up here. It doesn't look very far on a map. I can tell you, and don't think you're going to take your car to university because there is no parking for students. Okay? There is no parking at university for student cars. Just take that on. Okay? Currently, if you were to go from North Acton to South Kensington, I know lots of you love London. Okay? Currently, the fare price as of this morning is £2.90. Okay? And it's then, I think it's a single price to get the tube round to South Kensington and then have to walk. Okay? You can also go on the tube, you can get a return ticket, you can get an Oyster card that brings the price down, but an Oyster card is only worth having if you do it regularly. Can I tell you, my son, who's the doctor, he rides his bike every day across the majority of central London, because he says you very, very quickly do you accumulate quite a lot of money on your Oyster card. Okay, so what I'm saying to you is that's just one example of one university and their halls of residence in a town. Okay, if you think about Bristol, Bath, any of the big places, Southampton, for example, they don't have any of their halls of residence on the main campus. You have to travel. Okay, some universities allow you to have free travel on the bus in the first year. Look at it, do the research, find out how long it takes. Okay, and as you can see here, for a bus from the North Acton, it's an hour on the bus, even if that bus is free. So think about whether or not where it is you want to go. Have a look at the accommodation and do some research. Okay, so that's it. That's my presentation for this morning.